watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on today's show as we are talking some trade ideas, some free agents. We'll get you all the wrap-up from OTAs and minicamp as well as we count you down to training camp. I've seen some wild trade ideas today, by the way. You guys are asking me about Bobby Wagner returning. I've also seen Will Dissly in there. We'll answer all of those here in just a moment. Let's begin with a $5 super chat from Xander. As Big Tex joins me now, as we have a question for both myself and Big Tex from Xander. Xander wants to know from both you and Tex, who do you guys personally really want to get signed from the Hawks? Tex, we had a video earlier this week of some free agent targets, and at the time of this recording, there was 3 names for me that stood out. Amari Cooper, Asante Samuel Jr., and Brandon Shreve, I think all would help this team out a lot, and I think that Seattle can afford all 3 of them. I would take any of the 3 of them. I would sign all 3 of them up to me. What say you?
Great question. I think I'm going to lean towards Amari Cooper here. I, as a former Dallas Cowboys fan, saw a decent amount of Amari Cooper when he was in Dallas, watched him a little bit before when he was with the Raiders, and then obviously he tore it up those 2 seasons with Cleveland. I think he would provide an immediate impact kind of, I wouldn't say safety blanket for Sam Darnold, but definitely someone that he can rely on outside of JSN to get those critical second and third down catches this season under Clint Kubiak in that offense, and I think that would be a great choice for them.
Xander, thanks for the question. $5 super chat is a beer cheers, by the way, so I'll drink cold Miller for you on the mailbag today. Why not? Cheers, Xander. Go Hawks. Thank you for that. Cheverton writes in, do you think the Hawks will finally find an OC that stays more than 1 season? Well, Cheverton, here's what I would say to that. The counter argument I would make is that in theory, you should want your coordinators to do such a good job that they are up for other jobs elsewhere, head coaching positions around the NFL. So what I would like for Clint Kubiak is that this offense is humming so much that he does get interviews for other positions around the NFL, potentially a head coaching opportunity, and then the job is even more attractive to replace him because somebody else looks at this team and says, wow, look at the job Clint Kubiak did. He turned into a head coaching job. Maybe I could come in and do the same thing potentially. So that's what you want. You're not looking for a Ryan Grubb situation where somebody's fired after 1 year. We don't want that to happen with Clint Kubiak. But I think an ideal scenario would be to get a coordinator of that upper echelon caliber in Clint Kubiak. What I would want to, though, along the same lines of what you're alluding to here, think about the Washington Commanders with what we saw this past season with Cliff Kingsbury, where Kingsbury probably could have taken a head coaching opportunity. But the Commanders, and they have a very good ownership group with Josh Harris and company, they took care of Cliff Kingsbury. They got him paid, and he didn't want to leave. He knew he was in a good situation, and he preferred to stay as the Commanders' offensive coordinator and turn down potential head coaching opportunities. I would hope that Seattle has such a good year with Clint Kubiak that he's up for some head coaching jobs, but that they take care of him and hopefully convince him to stay and run it back with Sam Darnold. But we shall see. Folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today as we bring you our daily news and rumors. Live shows 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have our Madden Sims. We also have our Q&A mailbags, breaking news, and more. It's all in one place. Your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Turn on notifications. That way you stay alert and you never miss a moment. This is the place to be. I love talking Hawks football with you guys each and every day here on the channel. And we want to make sure that you have those noties are on and join that Noti gang. That way you're the first to know when we have that new content. If you're part of the Noti gang, spam Noti gang in the comment section, and we'll continue with today's show. Ricky Rudd, the NASCAR legend himself, checking in. I always thought Ricky Rudd was a Seahawks fan. Fearless leader, Salute to you, Ricky. I know he re-signed recently, but could the Commanders go younger at linebacker and be open to trading Bobby Wagner back to Seattle? What? What? Okay. You asked. So let's discuss. Part one. The Commanders are not trading Bobby Wagner. All right. He had a really good year last year with that Washington Commanders team, and he was a big reason why they took such a big step and got to the NFC Championship game. Bobby Wagner was fantastic for the Washington Commanders. Now, yes, Bobby is older, but Washington does not have any better options. Okay? Now, the second part, as far as Seattle goes, there is a scheme misfit. The reason why Bobby is not here is because Mike Macdonald values coverage linebackers, guys that can cover. And Bobby's last season here in Seattle, back in 2023, you guys know this. This is not some breaking news secret. Bobby had his struggles in coverage. He was not what he was even a few years prior in coverage. And so I don't think Mike Macdonald is interested in bringing Bobby Wagner back. That he does not fit what Mike Macdonald is looking to do. I love Bobby. He's one of the greatest to ever wear the uniform here. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. His name's going to be in the Ring of Honor someday. I hate the way things went down when they moved on from him in 2021 and when they moved on from him again in 2023. But this will always be home for Bobby Wagner. I hope that he gets to sign that one-day contract someday as a member of the Seattle Seahawks. I think he will, but I would be pleasantly surprised if Washington traded him and if he was traded back to Seattle. A reunion in Seattle, if the opportunity were to present itself somehow, should the Seahawks trade for Bobby Wagner? Type T for trade, P for pass. Wait in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Brendan Yoder writes in, hashtag Seahawks, Demarcus Lawrence, what should we realistically expect with him this season? If he stays healthy, and that's a major if, I think D-Law is going to be great. I think he can have a 10-plus sack season if he stays healthy. But that's the major what if. The unknown here is, can he stay healthy? I think we've talked about this numerous times on this show. Mike Macdonald's done really well with older pass rushers, with the Justin Houstons, the Jadeveon Clowneys of the world, and there's no reason why D-Law can be just that. It's just a matter of health. If he stays healthy, I expect big things from Demarcus Lawrence in 2025. Trevor from GTA. When's GTA 6 coming out? We're going to have to wait another 10 years on that? Obviously, we're looking at options at tight end. What about a reunion with Will Dissly? So, I'll be frank with y'all. I am not the biggest Will Dissly fan by any stretch of the imagination. I don't even think you miss Will Dissly all that much, if any at all. He had a decent year with the LA Chargers last year because Jim Harbaugh actually knows how to use the tight end position. Cough, cough, Pete Carroll. 50 catches last year, 481 yards, 2 touchdowns, close to 10 yards reception. I know that the Chargers are evaluating their options. They could be potentially looking to move on from some guys to improve their roster. But I think that Seattle has their sights set on something bigger than Will Dissly here. If they move on from Noah Fant, which I don't think is going to happen now, but you never know, Elijah Arroyo, I think, would slide into the tight end one spot. And if you brought in another tight end, you'd want somebody better than Will Dissly, potentially. Kyle Pitts' name has been thrown out there among some of the others. I think Dallas Goedert's been talked about. You can do better than Will Dissly. I would be very shocked if Will Dissly somehow ended up back in Seattle. Back to the Pacific Northwest. Should the Seahawks trade for Will Dissly? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. Way in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Nike Seahawks t-shirts are on sale now for $15.99. While supplies last. Chatsports.com/SeahawksT. We have these shirts with the Nike emblem, the Seahawks logo. It's a perfect combination. It's getting a little hot outside. You want to wear some Seahawks gear. why not get one of these fantastic shirts for you? $15.99. It's not very often we talk about Nike gear being on sale and being cheap. So why would you not get this? Chatsports.com/CLXT. Got all sorts of different shapes and sizes. We got other Seahawks merchandise available also at this same link. Go see for yourself now. Chatsports.com/CLXT to get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Brendan Yoder writes in, what's the news on Zabel? Everyone is covering Jalen and Nick. I want to hear something on our hero. Brendan, I haven't heard too much, I'll be honest, on Gray Zabel, but I would put it this way. No news is good news. If he was struggling, we would all hear about it. But I'll put it this way. Because of the limited contact and all of that come with OTAs and minicamp, I think the offensive line is the hardest to evaluate this time of year. Like, okay, cool. They all push the sled. Sweet. That's what they're supposed to do. Like, you can't really get a good gauge of things too much. We will know a whole lot more when we get to training camp, but I haven't heard anything negative, so I'll put it that way. I think that's a good sign for him there. Last question. Seahawks Superfan writes in, would you rather trade for an offensive guard or sign one in NFL free agency? Really just depends on your options. I think Wyatt Teller is probably the top guard on the trade market. And Brandon Shreve is probably the top guard on the free agent market. I would rather trade for Wyatt Teller than I would Brandon Shreve. But I'm open to all possibilities. I just want to see the Seahawks get the best option they possibly can and not have to break the bank and give up too many assets if they don't have to. But that would probably be your best route of action. We'll see what happens. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.